Good morning, friends. This is Durga again from IT University, a one-stop shop to learn all the technologies. So as part of today's workshop, we'll continue where we stopped last week. It's about big data certifications workshop. We are talking about Sqoop, and Sqoop import is almost done. We will go on to the next topic. First, let me set up the WebEx session, and we will start. Okay. I'm sharing my screen on WebEx. I hope you guys can hear me and you can see my screen, whoever is on WebEx. Please confirm on the chat. Okay, cool. So now, let me start the WebEx. Sorry, it's already started. Someone is asking a question about the last session. Yes, Sunil, you can ask the doubt about exercise 12. Let me open it up real quick. You can unmute yourself and you can ask Sunil. So this is the exercise. So what is your question? Hello, Sunil. Can you hear me? Hello? Anyone else have any questions on this exercise before we move on? Okay, so let's move on. First, let us review whatever is covered, how it is related to certification, and everything related to certifications are included as part of that Sqoop import we have done so far. So here I am taking to each of the certifications. First one is CCS, Spark, and Hadoop Developer. Okay, and here if you go to this certification curriculum, in this, they are only talking about importing data from a MySQL database into HDFS using Sqoop. And also they are talking about change the delimiter and file format of data during import using Sqoop. So these two things are covered. If you go to Sqoop user guide, okay, here we are talking about Sqoop import, and you can go to the syntax directly. And so primarily they're talking about these file formats. The latest one have Parquet also. Here there is no Parquet. 1.4.2 does not have Parquet, but 1.4.3 have Parquet. So you can use Parquet, Avro, sequence file, and the text file as file formats. And also, if you go to the curriculum, this section is also emphasizing on delimiter. So when it comes to delimiter, here we are talking about while writing into HDFS. So you should focus on output line formatting arguments. We are writing output to HDFS. Okay, so here we should know what is fields terminated by, what is lines terminated by, what is escaped by, what is enclosed by, and also what is MySQL delimiters. Sunil, you can ask question anytime. Let me start explaining. You can ask a question anytime. You can unmute yourself and I can take your question anytime. Okay. So everything related to CCS, Spark, and Hadoop Developer, you should be comfortable with, especially dealing with delimiters. And they don't get into too many complex things here. File formats, probably append, hive overwrite, table, sorry, append, and then there should be one parameter related to overwrite also. That is actually 1 minute. Split by target directory. There should be one argument where it will actually delete the target directory. I think it is delete. This is little bit older one. Sqoop 1.4.6. Okay, so this is the one which you can look into. Go to syntax and scroll down. You have this parquet file and also delete target directory, where the import target directory will be deleted if it exists. So you should be familiar with most of these parameters. The important ones are these four. Append is important. Columns, it's pretty straightforward and you should know. Boundary query is important. Delete the target directory is important. Num mappers is important. Query is not important with respect to CCS Spark and Hadoop developer. Most likely they will not give it. But even if they ask you, you should be able to do it. And then where to filter out on particular condition. So these are the things which are important. And also, as I have mentioned to you earlier, you should also know output line formatting arguments. And the next certification where Sqoop is important is CCA data analyst. Okay, why I'm emphasizing on this is you should know how to get the documentation based upon the questions with respect to your certification, and the curriculum and the documentation should be mapped easily. You should be able to fetch the information quickly from the documentation because you will be provided access to this documentation. So when it comes to data analyst certification, again, import data from a MySQL database into HDFS, and then transform values, columns, or file formats of incoming data before analysis. So here, the transformation can be done using query. You can write whatever transformation you want to perform by just specifying query. Okay, so here there is emphasis on transforming data before loading into HDFS, and you should know how to use query. When you use query, you cannot use num mappers more than one unless you specify split by. So you should know the relationship between query, num mappers, and split by. And the rest of the stuff is same. File formats, and then move data between tables in the meta store. I don't know what it is all about. I also do not understand. I will try to explore this, whether it is actually related to MySQL or not. Probably it might be related to Hive, because here they are talking about extract, transfer, load, process to prepare data for queries. Okay, so these things might be related to Hive. Even this one probably related to Sqoop, or it could be related to Hive also. Okay, we will see from Hive perspective also how these things can be done. I think this is primarily Hive, not a Sqoop. So we can ignore this. If you have to do any transformations at the time of Sqoop, you can do it using those arguments. And the other certification is CCP Data Engineer. Even though I will not be covering completely, the Sqoop portion of CCP Data Engineer will be covered completely. Okay, hence I am just explaining what all are covered from CCP Data Engineer. Okay, this is not the URL. This is the one. You can see there is only one item which covers import and export data between external database and your cluster, including the ability to import specific subsets. How can we import specific subsets? If you want to import subsets based on columns, then you can pass columns and you can specify what columns you want to pull. If you want to pull subsets based on rows, you can use where condition and fetch the data. You should be familiar with changing the delimiter. Okay, with respect to import, you have to focus on output formatting options, and also you should know file formats. Okay, so everything are covered. I'm not sure about data access pattern or privileges, whether it is very relevant. As long as you have access to underlying tables and data sets on the source, and also directories on the target, you should be able to copy the data. Okay, so you should be familiar with primarily HDFS commands to make sure that you have required permissions uh, before loading the data. Probably there could be some questions on that. Okay, so just keep those things in mind. Whatever HDFS commands are required to get the details about permissions and all, you should be familiar with those things. ls command will give you all the details you want. If you want to change the permissions, you need to know Hadoop fs chmod command, ch1 command, etc. Okay, so this is with respect to Cloud certifications, we have covered everything related to import. We haven't spoken about export. We will see that, and then you can go to HDP CD certification. That is another certification which we are trying to cover. Okay, and if you go to exam objectives and datasheet, go to view objectives, and here when it comes to import, there is a Sqoop import, there is freeform query imports, and there is import data into Hive. So these two things we have directly looked into. Let us understand what is freeform query imports. If you go to the documentation, okay, as part of one of the sections, there is something called freeform query imports. So freeform query imports is nothing but using query. Okay, so even this one is covered, and make sure you remember the relevance of where conditions. When you are running from Linux, you have to escape $, otherwise it will not work. Okay, make sure you remember that. It is mentioned here. Okay, so go through this documentation and make sure you understand what they are talking about. It might help you quite a bit while giving the certification. So whatever is required for all these 4 certifications from the Sqoop import is covered as part of last 5 to 6 classes. We have spent enough time on Sqoop import. If you still have any questions, let me know, and make sure you understand the relevance between number of mappers and the select min and max query, and how the data will be split into multiple splits. That is very, very important to understand, not from the certification perspective, but in general, you should know to benchmark your Sqoop imports. Any questions here? Sunil, if you want to ask, you can ask now also, before we proceed to the next topic. Okay, so you are trying to do the snappy compression, and so the issue is not with the compression here. Okay, I hope you guys can see it in the chart. Okay, what he's saying is, let me see if I can actually zoom in. I cannot zoom in. Let me paste it. Yeah, the chart window will not be displayed to everyone. That's why I'm pasting to Sublime. Unless Sunil sends it to everyone, you will be able to see in your chart. But when I am sharing my screen, my chart will not be displayed on the WebEx session. So you will not be able to see. Okay, so this is what he is asking. While trying this using snappy codec like this, it is failing, saying yellow text splitter true. Okay, so very good, you tried this. So I will explain where the issue is. So the table which you are trying to copy, so there are 2 tables in that. If you go to the exercise, I think I have asked only to copy 1 table. Okay, I ask you to copy only 1 table, which is stocks underscore EOD. But still, I will explain where the issue is. So I'm exiting from here, and now I am logging in as NYSE underscore RO. Okay, IPversity is the password. Use NYSE, show tables. So there are two tables, stock in underscore EOD and stocks underscore EOD. Okay, if I describe stock underscore EOD, you can see stock ticker is of type varchar of 10 and trade date is of type varchar of 30. Even with respect to stocks underscore EOD, let us see whether there is a primary key. There is a primary key here also, and primary key is a composite key, stock ticker and trade date in both the cases. So now a table which has stock ticker and trade date of type varchar or varchar and date. So what this issue is saying is, because we are actually using a text field as primary key, we have to pass this argument as part of the Sqoop import so that it can actually split by text rather than number. Okay, by default it is disabled on the cluster. It's nothing related to snappy compression. It is actually related to the condition where we are trying to split data by a text field. If it is number, it's easy to get the splits by just get the min value, max value, and then subtract the min value from the max value and divide into splits using the num mappers. Right here, we are actually trying to split by a primary key field. Very good observation. Even when you try to import a single table also, it will run into the same issue. Glad that you have brought this up. It's a very good scenario which you need to understand. Okay. So after saying this, you can say -D. It already gave the argument which you need to use. So you can just copy. I already typed -D, so I'm ignoring that and copying the rest of the stuff, and then paste it, and then hit enter. Okay, probably I might have to add a little bit early, and also I need to change the location of to where I want to copy these files. So let me write it in multiple lines. Okay. Okay, and also I want to specify warehouse directory under user NYSE. Okay, and then I need to specify it over here. Now let us try. So these control arguments we have to specify immediately after the command, not anywhere. Other -D is only to override certain parameters. These are actually Sqoop control arguments, whereas this one it's overriding the configuration parameter. This is not argument. This -D, this one is not argument. This is overriding the configuration, where we are saying that you can use text splitter while doing this import. Okay. Now I can copy this. Okay, let me close this session. We don't need. Now it is actually trying to do the Sqoop import. Okay, so only Sunil actually tried this exercise. because if you guys have tried, most likely you might have got into this issue, or probably you might have got resolution by yourself. Oh, I didn't start the recording, but it's there in YouTube Live. So I didn't start the recording, but it's there in YouTube Live. I forgot that. Okay, so far what we have covered, because I miss recording the session, I am just trying to recap. Sunil tried to run the Sqoop import all tables, and he ran into the issue, and this is how you can fix the issue. And also, so far I just have mapped the curriculum that is covered in last 5 to 6 sessions with respect to Sqoop import along with the certifications. You can easily relate by going to the documentation and also by going to the curriculum what all I have covered to make sure that everything related to certification is covered. Okay. So even if we miss to record this earlier portion of this class, it's not very important. There is nothing, no theory covered. I just try to relate the curriculum covered so far, mapping with the certification curriculum, and also this one is important. Sunil tried to run the Sqoop import all tables, where some of the tables are having a character type as primary key, and we have to use this control argument. After Sqoop import, we have to pass the control argument using hyphen capital D, and then the sorry, configuration parameter using hyphen capital D, then the parameter name equal to parameter value, in this case to allow text split by text, and then the rest of the stuff is same. Okay. Thank you very much, Ravindra, for reminding me. So you can see that 9,384,739 records are retrieved, and we can review the output by running Hadoop ss-ls user Gadiraju retail underscore db. Sorry, NYSE. And we have stock underscore EOD as well as stocks underscore EOD. So let me type stock underscore EOD here. You can see there are 8 tables, and you can see the distribution is not so even, because when it comes to splitting using characters or alphabetical, where the fields are of type character, it will not be that even like numeric values. So that's why you see the split is completely uneven. Okay, so there are few questions, follow-up questions from Sunil. Let me take these things. When I'm loading data directly into Hive using Sqoop, okay, what is the issue, Sunil? Okay, so I still could not get what the issue is. You can unmute yourself and ask questions, Sunil. No. You don't need to load data manually. It will be automatically copied. So let me explain it to you again. Okay, you joined only last 2 sessions, so you missed some of the earlier sessions. So the way Sqoop import into Hive works is, first it will run the Sqoop command and copy data to a stage location when I do Hive import. So let me perform Hive import. Okay, Sqoop import connect to JDBC. MySQL 01.IT city. Let me use it from here. That will be easier. Okay. I'm using the same table. Okay. I'm importing only one table now, which is stock COD. So when we are doing Hive import, we don't need to specify warehouse directory. We just have to specify Hive import and Hive database NYSE. Okay. And also, let me make sure I create a, okay, let me give the database name as my database itself. This is my database which I have. Okay, so let me delete this. And let me run real quick and I will explain how it is going. Okay. Let us remove the compression. Okay, I have to give the table name, sorry. So what it will do is it will go to the source database, fetch the data into a stage location. Once the data is copied to stage location, as a final step, it will actually use Hive load command to load into Hive table. Okay, that's why it is actually reporting that it is in the process of loading that data. That's it. It's a common, that is the functionality. When you do Hive import, it will not directly copy data to the location where Hive table is pointing to. It will first copy to the stage location, and the stage location will be your home directory. So here you can see loading data to table, and it actually loads the data, and it is done. Okay, and if it fails somewhere in the middle, then under user Raju, there will be a directory with the table which you are trying to copy, like stocks underscore EOD directory will be here. Okay, because it is completed internally, it will delete. But so at this point, if you check, okay, you will see a directory under user Raju with the table name. This step encounters loading data to table. Then it will actually copy the data into the Hive table. Okay, if it fails somewhere here and here in the middle because of permissions or something, then you will have a directory which is created in that location, which will cause issues later, saying that directory already exists. So you have to delete the directory and then you have to run the import again. Okay. Is it clear or still you have any issue? Okay, next question is, what is the difference between warehouse directory and target directory in Sqoop? Hey Rohit, again, these are all covered earlier. I cannot explain right now, it will take time. To answer your question, target directory, when you specify target directory, it will create the directory with that name, and then it will try to load data into that. Warehouse directory, it will create a subdirectory within that path which you specified with the name of the table name, and then it will actually copy into the copy data into that location. So warehouse directory will create a subdirectory with same name as table name, and target directory will actually copy the data directly in the target directory. Okay, anyway, unless you do, you explore it, you will be confused. You have to go back to my videos and you have to watch those things. You guys have joined a little bit late, and I cannot revise again. The best thing you can do is go to YouTube I will give the playlist again. I think I have given last time also. And this is the URL which you need to follow. Okay, so there are two streams. One is Scala and Spark workshop, and the other one is Big Data Certifications workshop. Okay, you have to follow both. Okay, so 1 minute. Let me pull this up. So with respect to Scala and Spark, you have to go through these Scala and Spark videos to come up to be up to speed. With respect to Sqoop, you have to follow these big data certifications and then proceed further. Okay, as I have mentioned to you earlier, from next week, most likely we'll start on Hive, so which is a completely new module. And also whatever we will be starting from today is independent whatever we have covered earlier. So you will be able to follow the future sessions without much issues. But you have to review the old sessions. Okay. Anyway, now let us move forward. Okay, so everything with respect to Sqoop import is covered with us for the certifications, and also we have covered so many other scenarios which is not relevant for the certification. So for the rest of session today, I will be explaining some of the common issues related to Sqoop import. Okay, and it is very, very important to understand these issues. So now, and also one more thing which you need to keep in mind is about this counters information. Okay, you should be able to interpret these things. And also you should be familiar about troubleshooting the issues. Okay, sometimes the Sqoop import will fail in the middle. You should know why it is failing, and you should know how to troubleshoot those issues. For that, you need to understand the framework in which Sqoop import is running. So we'll start from there, and first we will see how to monitor the job, and also how to troubleshoot if there are any issues. Okay, so Sqoop import is nothing but a MapReduce job, and unless we are on Hadoop 1, where we are using MapReduce Classic, we will be using something called Yarn. Yarn is nothing but a execution framework where the MapReduce jobs will be run by it. It actually does not process any data. It will only control how the MapReduce job is running. So first, let me run a Sqoop import command and explain how it works. Okay. So here, let me delete the directory which is created earlier. Hadoop ss -rm -R user dgazigaju /nysc stocks and hit enter. So I'm deleting this directory completely. Now I want to perform the Hive import on only one table. So here I'm using import command. Okay, and these things are not important for the certification, but you should know how to troubleshoot the issues, and also what are the common issues which we'll encounter while running Sqoop, and these issues are very, very important to understand. So here I'm saying stocks_EOD as the table name which I want to copy. Okay, now I'm running this one. I'm removing the compression. So just for Rohit's sake, what will happen in this case? We are using warehouse directory, and we are passing the table name. So in this location, it will create a subdirectory called stocks_EOD, which is nothing but table name, and it will copy data into that. That is the functionality of warehouse directory. So now I am running this one. Pasting it here. So now the Sqoop import is running. When it will, okay, there is a directory already. So let me delete that. SC stocks underscore POD. Okay. Now I am running. This is the problem with this Windows laptop. The touch screen is not centered, it's towards left. So whenever my hand touches the touch screen, it causes issue for me. Okay, now it is running the Sqoop import. After doing all the pre-processing, it will actually start the job and it will create a job ID and it will give this URL. So we can take this URL, okay, and go to browser. Why it is not running? I think I didn't copy it properly. Yeah, set. What